So we're recording this, and there are going to be many people that watch this that know nothing about prisons. In fact, there'll be people watching this that know nothing about gang affiliations. They'll know nothing about SNY designated levels. They will know nothing. So what I like is a brief overview about what are we talking about? What with respect to the Gogi Life tools, communication, and relationship. What brings us here today? Coach James, what brings us here today?
Hi, I'm Coach James. What brings me here today is I wanted to talk to you all about SNY and general population definitions and how we look at things and how we have separated things and how we have addressed it in the system for the past 20 years when they enacted these programs.
Great. So Coach Robert, define within the California Department of Corrections, because both of you are familiar with that, as am I. What is SNY? What is Gen Pop? What are designations? How do you define it within the CDCR, California, so that we can kind of all be on the same page? Because there are different names in different areas, in different countries, in different towns. There's even different names for these designations. Define them for us.
Yes, general population means that the general population it's open for anybody that doesn't have any special needs or meaning protection, that you could program within the bounds of the political agenda from the general population. And the SNY is a sensitive needs yard where they have perhaps safety issues that in general population would carry consequences. And a designated, non-designated yard would mean that there are individuals from SNY yard and general population put together as a program yard where they know.
So possible enemies. Possible,
absolutely.
Possible enemies. So somebody might say, you need protection from me because I don't like you. And now they're cohabitating?
Yeah, they come together, and now they're looking, the politics come in. Well, you guys are SNY, you guys live the general population, so now we have to assault you.
Okay, so Coach James, is this exclusive to California, or could this be something throughout the United States where there's somebody who's general population and somebody who needs protection or has a sensitive need or a specific need? Is this nationally or is it California? Talk to me about this world that not a lot of people know about.
Yeah, I believe it. I believe it's international. Like within any population, you're gonna have deviant behavior and safety issues and all this and that. I've been in California Department of Corrections for over 30 years. I have an H number. And so since 1991, I was in California Department of Corrections. I did my one term of 9 years and another term of 26 years to life under California 3 strikes law. Around the year 2000, the SNY population, well, what happened was the sensitive needs yards were meant specifically for people with sensitive needs. Primarily, it was like for sex offenses or stuff like that. As time went on with the criminal gangs and stuff like that, there were dropouts. There were people that had debts. There were people that just weren't functioning within the normal society, and they had broken rules and had to find a way to then start to live their lives again. But what happened in that process is you started taking what from what I've seen, it was like the general lifespan of a general population inmate was on average of 10 to 15 years. Something would happen in that 10 to 15 years where they would have broken a code or a rule or something, or had been fallen out of grace with their homies. when I first met Coach Robert, I was super surprised to realize that he had served like 36 years, general population. I I understood him. I identified with him. I felt the things that he's felt. I began to become really reverent to Coach Robert because he told me he was talking in session and he said that he found safety in the groups. And I was like, wow, I wish I could have found safety in the groups. I mean,
Interesting. Let's hear from Coach Robert. How many years did you do? And you did it all in general population? And does that mean that you were a worse person? Were you causing harm? Is general population where the bullies go? Talk to us, because if I know nothing about general population, what you've just told me is I don't want to be there because I have to follow some set of rules that I might not want to agree with. Talk to me a little bit about how much time did you do? Where did you do it? And how did you do that time there?
Definitely. I served 38 years altogether, and I did serve it in general population. I did most of it in security housing units known as the SHUs, because I was at the time I was an active gang member and I was
Okay,
involved.
hold on a second. If I know nothing, you're telling me you lived in a SHU. I'm going to think of a fairy tale. What is living in a SHU? Let's describe a security housing unit. Not a lot of people, unless you've been behind the wall, know what SHU is. What is SHU, and how did you get from general pop to SHU?
Okay, the SHU, which is the security housing unit, it's a place where for individuals that break the regulations, they either are stabbing people, assaulting, are involved in criminal activity, and that's where these individuals are placed. And being that I was involved in those things, in gang activity, assaulting individuals at the time, I was eventually put in the housing security away from the general population for their own security because of the things that I was involved in.
Okay, so let me get this right. In society, if we have somebody on the streets and they're causing a problem, they get scooped up off the streets and taken to jail.
Yes.
SHU sounds to me like it's a jail within a prison. You're being scooped up off the yard and put in jail so that you don't harm anybody else on the yard. Is that right?
Absolutely. Same concept. Yeah. You become a threat to the general population because of the activities that you're involved in. And so you are removed from general population and put in a little cell so you could
think about it.
Give something to think about it. Absolutely.
Now let's differentiate, because you were on general pop, you were doing some bad things, you got put in the SHU jail. Mm-hmm. Why was that not SNY? Why did you not be moved to SNY?
Well, okay. The reason I was not moved to SNY because going to SNY is a choice. That because if you feel that your life's in a being threatened, then you don't want to put yourself in a position where you're going to get harmed by those individuals from general population or even from the SHU. So you will say, you know what, I fear for my life. You know what, I'm gonna go ask for help and have me removed from general population or even from the SHU. So then you are taken to SNY yard because now you have a sensitive need. So and at the time that I chose not to go SNY because at the time my gang mentality, that was not an option. I go SNY, that's for chumps. I mean, I'm no chump. I'm a solid individual, and I'll do my shoot time with the so-called stand-up guys. And so, I served a lot of shoot because of my mentality. I served like a little bit over 2 decades in the SHU.
Okay, so now that brings us here. Now, at least in California, and I suspect other places, what they're saying is we're not going to be looking at general population as different than SNY. We want everybody to program regardless of what their beliefs are. We just want to program people. We want to get people rehabilitated. We want to release them or not. Maybe that's not what they're thinking. But the fact is now they are intermingling different groups. Is that correct, Coach James?
Yeah, I believe that to be true. The yard that Coach Robert and I both paroled off, he paroled off of D yard general population. I paroled off of B yard SNY are currently merging. That yard became a non-designated facility, and regardless if you're an SNY or general population or whatever, we all have these concerns, and we have these concerns when we come out to transitional housing. How does it look if I come out an SNY inmate and Coach Robert is my roommate in transitional housing? Do we continue the dialogue? Do we continue to, because I believe that, and well, I know in my life, and I believe it to be true in Coach Robert's life as well, we were living a different type of way than the criminal lifestyle that we had in the past before we had these tools. I spent 12 years in SHU. I was actively stabbing my cellies and inmates the whole entire time on my 30 years of incarceration.
Well, this surprises me because Coach James and Coach Robert, you two asked for this time together. It's not like I said, Coach Robert, I need you to do me a favor. I need you to meet with this former SNY person, Coach James. We have a former Gen Pop guy. You guys asked to meet because you wanted to dispel rumors or fear that communicating with each other is a bad thing. What you're finding is here on the outside, communicating with each other is a great thing. Coach Robert, can you talk to me about how is it different out here than it was in your mind when you were on a yard with, say, 600 guys and you all had this mentality? Then you're out on you're at a transition home now. How is it different than what you thought it was going to be like on the outside? And why are you and James now good buddies, both Gogi coaches, hanging out with each other and talking about empowering others? How did that all happen?
Yeah. Well, I would have to say that back then the thing that kept me in conflict with others was my criminal thinking, and me following the criminal conduct, the criminal code and the gang conduct. That's what kept me in conflict with others. You're SNY, no, you're this, so that led to me assaulting you today. Me removing that criminal mentality and rejecting the criminal code. Now I'm able to see individuals as individuals, not where they came from, where they paroled from, or who they are. The past is the past, and today in the free community, I'm not looking at I know you. To this day, before Coach James brought the issue about him being non-dissident from SNY, I did not know that, and I didn't when I come in here to the free community, I was not looking at or asking where you parole from, or they didn't bring okay, that's cool. I know where they parole from, but myself, I'm not even looking at that. I'm looking at today we're in the free world. I'm trying to get my life together. You're trying to get your life together, and like Coach James and we're like-minded individuals. We're Gogi coaches. Now we're out here, helping others, trying help the youth not to make the mistakes that we made that landed us in prison. So now, I'm not looking, and none of that's because that criminal thinking is not there.
So is it a relationship with your mindset that changes first before the relationship with each other changes? Coach James, can you talk about that? Because what Coach Robert is telling me is that in his mind, he's a free man. We're all in this together. We're headed toward this one direction. Does it take that mindset, the relationship with the mind, first to switch before you can perceive others differently?
I believe so. I believe that my thoughts lead to my words lead to my actions, right? If we stay focused on the negative things, the definitions, the things, if we stay there, like there is no room for moving forward, and there's no room for positivity. Robert and I have probably more in common but because of our trajectory and because of what we went through and everything. And it's true, we didn't talk about it. We don't talk about it. But the concern is, at least for the way that I've felt, and the way that I experienced, the way that the people that I talk to are experienced, they're concerned is, oh, am I going to get out in the transitional housing? And how's it get? And we don't know. We don't know because we've been incarcerated for over 3 decades. Right? We've been telling ourselves the same story for all this time. And at a certain point, that has to stop. And systematically, this is happening already. See, what we want to show and say is we can define ourselves by a different set of choices. And I believe Coach Robert and myself and anybody else that's engaged in this work starts doing that long before we're released from prison. But I didn't want to leave it lingering because I wanted to clear it with Coach Robert to say, look, if I'm still identifying or thinking of this, or I don't want to put you in harm's way for being around me, or this and that, the other, I want to be transparent in the respectives. I want to keep it 100 in my community, and I want to be an example to show others, like, you don't have to get out here and continue with that mindset, whatever side of the coin you're on, because whatever side of the coin you're on, you're telling yourself a dialogue, and that dialogue is going to affect the people around you.
Would you agree, Coach Robert?
No, absolutely. And I got, and just to add that even those that are on the inside with the criminal mentality, no, now coming to the free community, coming with that mentality, people are not looking at that. People are not, let me see your paperwork. Are you this and you're that? People are living their lives. They just don't care. I mean,
are you serious? So if somebody is getting out and they're going to a transition home, they aren't going to be grilled about who did they affiliate with, what do they do? They're not going to experience that. Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, no. My experience was not like that. When I came, especially when I came to the Francisco homes, and every other individual that I have met, and a lot of these guys were SMY, and they accepted me, and I knew, just by the conversation, they didn't straight out tell me, but just by the conversations they were having, I knew where they came from. But I wasn't even looking at that because, like I said, my mentality had changed already, and they were embracing me, and they were helping me. They were extending their hands to me, and I got their hand because they were the source of that. They were going to help me to better myself. And so I know so far I have not seen it where individuals are shunned because they're from SNY. No, I mean, personally, I have not seen it.
And Coach James, do you judge somebody who comes from a general pop yard? Talk to me about your perception about an active yard or a general population yard or a shoe. How do you feel about if somebody says, well, yeah, I did a lot of time in shoe? What goes on in your mind?
So me personally, like, I'm open to the dialogue. But I have friends and I have other people that are trying to get out. 100% they come with the judgment, and they're just as battle ready, distorted, this and that, the other, as these either side tells themselves a dialogue. Once we start to identify, I can see myself in Robert, right? And Robert's seeking change and positivity and good. And if we continue to let those definitions, which, mind you, are direct victims, our family, our friends, our community, have no understanding of this distorted, program that happened because we couldn't get along in prison. And then it became a system of, you know, I went. The reason that I went SNY was a law changed. I had no rehabilitation. I was up for resentence. I was like, okay, I'm gonna throw a Hail Mary and I want to go get the heck out of prison. It took me 7 years after that to actually do that. So I kind of went and I brought judgment to SNY. No, I was judging these people. I didn't want to be these people, and yet I was amongst them. But ironically enough, that was the same thing for my gang affiliations. I didn't come to prison a gang member and with all these distorted racist attitudes and this and that the other, but I 100% adopted those in prison, and I acted out in that capacity. Right?
Interesting. Coach Robert, talk to me about your relationship now with other human beings, no matter what yard they paroled from, or even if they're never going to parole, or if they did shoe or they didn't do shoe, or they gang or no gang. What is your relationship now with other human beings?
Man, I gotta say it's a positive relationship where we have mutual understanding, communication, no judgment. I mean, we're all helping each other. For example, at the college, when I first went there, I went there with the apprehension. I didn't know what to expect.
But you're a college student now.
Yes, I'm going to East LA College, and so when I first got there, no, I said I was nervous, apprehensive, and however, I found out that there's a small community of returning citizens, and I've learned that
returning citizen. Define that for me. What is a returning citizen?
A returning citizen is a person that has come out of prison back to the released back to the community.
Okay.
Instead of saying prisoner, ex-prisoner, ex-felon, the parolee is a returning a citizen is coming back to the community, and so some of these individuals are SNY, and they embraced me, and so and again, I didn't go asking who they're from. Just the conversations that come up. Oh yeah, okay. So, but there was no judgment. And like, okay, these are individuals. They're in college. Because imagine if I went out there with that attitude, and I started, man, I don't got no time for you. Where would I be? I'll be by myself. Things will not, I mean, I'll be in deep trouble. So that kind of mentality does not work in a place where you want to be, where it's where there's positiveness, where people want to grow and help each other. If you with that mentality, it's not going to go. So for me, being able to work with others and be helpful, to me, it's just wonderful. And I reflect back, and I tell myself, man, you know what? Why did it take so long for me to change? And the only answer that I get is that at the time I was not ready. And finally, when I was ready, I opened myself to all, to actually, being more inclusive and accepting people.
So your relationship with, it sounds to me like all of humanity is very inclusive. You look for similarities rather than differences. Is that right?
Absolutely.
Okay, Coach James, what about you? What is your relationship with others, with anybody on earth? What is your relationship now with others?
I believe that my relationship with, I have healthy relationships with people. They're not without, probably the closer the person within my boundary, maybe the more content, more issues that can come up. But I look at those issues as positivity. The relationship with my past and SNY, I'm not tripping. I've left all that back, but when for others and people that are questioning, that are coming out, that are concerned, like this and that, it's your choice. It's your choice. If you want to be free, Like, and what we do in Gogi is being free is up to me, and being of a service sets me free. And that's what I've seen Coach Robert do from the day one that he's got out of prison. He's come into this circle and has built a community, and continues to build a community that I'm a part of, that I take pleasure in, that he has 100% support. He knows my mother. Like, if I was on some past stuff, right? Like, I wouldn't be able to, we put ourselves in a safe place because we know that I was the one bringing the dysfunction the whole entire time. It was me.
Interesting. Do you have a few final words, Coach Robert? If somebody is in an institution and they're watching this and they've just been told, this is a Gen Pop yard, but now it's non-designated. We're going to mix you up with a whole bunch of people, or you're in the SHU, you've been in SHU a long time. You don't get to have a private room anymore. You get a celly, you're on a yard, you're going to program, you're going to this. What are some thoughts that you would like to share?
No, I would like to say that, at the end of the day, it is your choice. If you are claiming to be a rehabilitative person, then you're gonna upset all those things that set you apart from others to the side, and be more open, and because out here in the free world, the politics that they go on in prison they're not going out here. It's a whole different thing. So if the individual actually wants to come out and be productive and live a happy life, then no, you have the choice of programming and be more accepting. The individual does not have to like what perhaps he sees, but I mean, be respectful and focus on yourself, and come out here and do good things, because prison, it's not a good place. But if you don't want to change, they have room for you.
How did the Gogi Life Tools help you get where you are?
Well, it helped me to become boss of my thinking. Once I became boss of my thinking, I started, I started seeing what would be, because I wanted this, all these things for myself, but the way I was living was not conducive. No, it was setting me apart from so now that once I got my thinking straight, like I said, being the boss of I started, well, you know what? This is my other two, let go. This came into play. You know what? These things are no longer helping me. So now I need to start letting this go and start embracing these things that are going to be conducive to me one day coming home. And
Beautiful.
so the Gogi tools were very they were the ones that set me on coming home.
Beautiful. Coach James, what would you like to say to somebody who is in that position where other people are coming onto their yard, or they're getting moved, they're getting shipped somewhere else? In their mind, they have a fixation about what that means. What would you tell them? How would you share with them some thoughts?
I would say you're the reason that we're filming this right now, that we don't talk about this, that we carry this around, that this is happening in your life. If you find yourself in a level 2 institution and you're non-designated, you're worrying about this and that, the choice is yours. Like, at this point, you're coming home, and you're going to be re-entering society, and you're going to be trying to get your life on track, and you're going to have family that you're going to reconnect with. You're going to have friends that you're going to reconnect with, but there's also going to be a group on Tuesday nights, and there's going to be a group of coaches that are available to you 24 hours a day, that are either active general population or SNY or anything in between, that's going to identify with you and your story, and you're not alone. And so when you get on calendar and study the tool of the week and come home and be free.
I'm so grateful that both of you agreed to share these thoughts, and I'll do my best to get it out so as many people could see it as possible. I'm very, very proud of the service that you offer to your respective communities, to all our communities. I'm very proud to know you. I'm very proud that you both have the title of coach, as do I. I feel a kinship to you like you cannot even imagine, and I'm very, very grateful that you're living your life in service of others. So thank you, gentlemen.
No, thank you, Coach Taylor.
Coach,
Appreciate
you're gonna end us off with the pledge.
Why don't you? I'll follow you. I'll follow
Okay.
your lead.
Is it okay? And thank you very much, Robert, for doing this with us.
No problem. Thank you.
May our commitment
May our commitment
to the study of Gogi
to the study of Gogi
grant us the joy
grant us the joy
of giving and receiving,
of giving and receiving,
so that our inner freedom
so that our
so that
inner freedom
may be a maximum service
may be of maximum
service
to those we love
to those we love
and infinite others.
and infinite others.
Yeah, our pledge of service was created by the women who were detained in the Los Angeles County Jail. One day, one of our Gogi girls, Mimi, came down the stairs. Coach Taylor, we need a pledge. We need a pledge. Gogi's going to be big. And this pledge of service came out of these 24 women in this tiny little module who had a vision that the world could be a better place. And I got to tell you, there was no more diverse group than these 24 women in this jail. Some of them ended up with life sentences. Some went home the next day. Some had addictions. Some were abused. They were every creed, color, race, and they all united together. And that's what's so beautiful about Gogi is we chunk up to the vision that we are all one, which is awesome. And you two have displayed that very, very wonderfully today. Thank you very, very much.
No, thank you, Coach Taylor.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
G-O-D-I, G-O-D-I. Gogi told me this, I gotta do it for everybody. G-O-D-I, G-O-D-I. Gogi told me this, I gotta do it for everybody. G-O-D-I, G-O-D-I. Gogi told me this, I got to do to live right.